Hello, good morning. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. We are back on another edition of the morning program here on QTV, where we take a look at different stories on the newspapers. And of course, we also bring our code, that's the African proverb. We interpret it in the studios with our guest. And today, too, we are going to do the same thing. And I am with Jules Njai in the studios. Today, Julde will be the guest and the co-hosting at the same time. Julde, you'll be doing two simultaneously.
Yeah, I'm wearing two caps.
How are you doing, Julde?
I'm fine, Balde. Good morning to you. Good morning to our viewers from wherever you're watching us. It's always good to be back on this morning platform to give you the morning dose, the usual morning dose,
Absolutely.
like Balde always puts
Absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, so on the program today, we'll take a look at the newspaper review and the African code. We'll also be talking to the team from Alliance Française. As you know, Alliance Française have been, operating in the Gambia for many years.
Sure.
You know, they have really contributed a lot when it comes to the educational system of this country. So we'll have their team here for the first time. You know, having a team from Alliance Française to come and we engage them on what they're doing or what they've done, what they've achieved in the past, their vision and their mission. So it's very significant.
Yeah.
So we'll also be talking to Q City on the Q Carnival. As you know, we are working towards the Q Carnival. So we will engage them as well. So, Julde, the African code today. We will see what to do about it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so it reads, he who thinks he is leading and no one is following him is just walking. He who thinks he is leading and no one is following him is only taking a walk.
Absolutely. So I totally agree. I mean, leadership, it's just beyond about titles, positions, and everything. Leadership has to do with your vision, your mission, what you have for people, and how you were able to influence people to actually buy your idea and then to be able to follow you and respect you in that. We've seen lots of initiatives fail in this country and around the world, because of bad leadership.
Absolutely.
So actually, a leader can break an organization or make an organization. It can also break a country or make a country. So it all depends on leadership. Sometimes you think that most of these leaders think that, okay, I am leading, but in reality, you're not leading anyone. You're just walking alone, because the people who you're supposed to lead are either not following or align with your vision and mission or your thinking and the way you are taking them or the path in which you are taking them, or they are doing their own thing. And that is what we are seeing. The reason why most of these organizations, countries are failing is because of bad leadership. So it's more about the people, what you have for the people, how you are able to work with the people. Your vision should align with what the needs and aspirations of the people, but without which you are bound to fail as a leader.
Absolutely.
And that is what we are seeing in most cases. People have that entitlement. Okay, they are more concerned about their positions, the things that they are getting out of those positions, but delivery is always a problem.
Absolutely.
And most of the time, if you ask the people who are leading into key positions and the people that they are leading, they tend to tell you that, well, this is mumfarek posambe, but he is not, or he or she is not doing anything that is really supporting our agenda. The person is just there for his or her pockets. And we've seen that, evident in many cases. Sometimes key leader of the organization, so engage on key matters, the person will not be able to deliberate on those matters. So it's just, the person is just concerned about the lead. Sometimes, leaders are made, sometimes others are saying leaders are born. I mean, all those theories and all that. But once you are in the helm of affairs, you are in leadership, you should always strive to better yourself, to be a better person, better version of yourself, whether you are a leader or not, which I think is very important.
That is true, Julia. So I will not, interpret my own side. For the meantime, I'll just wait for Mr. Adedrame to come in before I also give my own view.
You always love to hear from
Mr.
Ade's
So,
interpretation.
at this point, let's take a short break. And after the break, then, we will continue. We'll be right back.
This December 31st, Q Carnival is taking over Q City for the biggest celebration of the year. From 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., the evening kicks off with a vibrant cultural and family fun festival hosted by famous comedy. A perfect mix of colorful cultural displays, live entertainment, and exciting games for the whole family. But that's not all. The Q Carnival Marketplace is open from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Shop unique crafts, handmade treasures, and indulge in mouth-watering foods from incredible vendors. Then as the clock strikes 12 midnight, the sky lights up with spectacular fireworks display. Now say goodbye to 2024 and welcome 2025 with a bang.
It's all about the Q Carnival music concert, live in a place we call Q City Complex. On the 31st of December, all road leads to Q City, featuring Jizzle, Miss Jobis, Hussein Dada, Antua Sparky, Nyancho, Big Banga, and many more. Tickets are 200, so massive. Make sure uno lineup live in a place we call Q City, 31st of December. Everything good. Come and enjoy the ambience. Whether it's culture, shopping, food, or music, Q Carnival is where all is happening. Q City is the place to be, the 31st of December. Q Carnival, you don't know, can't miss this carnival.
We are back. You're watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Balde. Now, after that interpretation by Julde, so we have Mr. Ade Drame in the studios. Mr. Ade, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I mean, that was very deep interpretation by Julde there. You know, I don't think anybody can follow that on. You know, but you said you were going to try when you came back, so we're back. So please take it away.
I am the one hosting here.
I heard you say distinctly.
I want to hear from your own side.
No, you said when you come back.
I want to connect. You know, I want you to be my transmitter so that I can connect from you.
Yeah, you know, but it's true. Pretty much what Julde said. You know, there are lots of people who they think they're leaders, but you know, unless somebody's following you, then you know, it's like it's like speaking to an echo chamber. You know. Leaders are people who can inspire people to follow them. There are lots of people, as I said, they think they're leaders. They're more misleaders, you know, lead people the wrong way. They don't have the right vision. If you have the right vision, you can use it to persuade people. And that's why sometimes you have in countries where even people who are in opposition to another party, it's not always kind of, you know, they're not always attacking them because they can see that the party in power is doing something. Is doing something constructive, and so they work with them. That even in countries where sometimes that sitting party loses the election, the one that comes after them carries on similar programs because they realize that they're beneficial because that person has set a vision. For me, I worry about some countries. For example, take Rwanda. You know, we all look at Rwanda, and there's a lot to admire in Rwanda. But all these countries where leaders stay long, you do tend to wonder what will happen when that leader goes. Is there a proper succession plan? Or is Rwanda going to collapse? God forbid Kagame has a heart attack today. What happens? Does Rwanda collapse? No, the country has to go on. But you don't get the sense. You don't get the sense that there's somebody waiting in the wings with the same vision, although in Rwanda they've been talking about he's trying to groom his son to take over. But that, again, you know, we've seen this in many times in Africa where many of our leaders think that they're monarchs and that they should hand over to their children. That's what's going to happen in Equatorial Guinea, for example, where the son of the president is the vice president. And he's already grooming him to take over from him. So, yeah, so now that guy, is he a leader? He's the ruler of the country, effectively, but is he a leader? If the people had a choice, would they follow him in Equatorial Guinea, or would they choose somebody else? So sometimes, you know, what you do and your vision can inspire people to follow you. Yeah.
Exactly. No, leadership is about influence, not authority. You know, at some point, you know, you can see there are people who doesn't even force it, and it happens.
Yeah.
Automatically they become leaders.
Mhm,
The likes of Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara, you know, Gambia's first president. You can see when he was steering the affairs of this country from prime minister to presidency, it was very easy because he built that confidence. He built that influence to an extent whereby people need to follow him automatically without even forcing it.
And he wasn't a shouty type.
No, he wasn't.
You know, that just
For
was
me,
not his
I
style.
even wonder at some point, how was he able to do it with
Because-
his nature? Like how cool he was. How did he achieve it?
Yeah.
I mean, to be able to rule the Gambia for 30 years.
As you saw,
You
people can see, they can see somebody who's a leader and not somebody who is a boss or an authoritarian figure necessarily.
Let's talk about
Some people who are authoritarian figures, people follow them. But, you know, to me, is that person a leader? No, they're not, because you haven't inspired people. You've struck fear into them for them to follow you. It's not the same. It's not the same. So
Look at Senghor of Senegal. They are still talking about him. I mean,
Senghor,
yeah.
Houphouët-Boigny
A
in
lot of
Cote
them.
d'Ivoire, many of them, Sir Milton Magai in Sierra Leone, very, very quietly and softly spoken. If you were to line him up in a room of people and had them speak, you would not say this person is the leader. Same in Nigeria, as Abubakar Tafawa Balewa, very soft-spoken and so on, you know. So yeah, but those people emerged as leaders because people could see that they had a vision, and that vision inspired people to follow them, and that made them leaders. Yeah.
Yeah, so exactly, Julde. Now we'll take a look at the stories on the newspapers.
I have a very interesting one, which is not in your newspapers,
Okay,
but it
all
might
right,
be on our news today.
Let's go ahead with it.
Nicholas Bass, who does court reports for The Point, contacted me, and a very interesting case. A Portuguese national has been granted leave to go on Christmas vacation to Portugal, even though she's facing a serious drug trafficking charge here in the Gambia. So they've
is
returned.
that supposed to be a joke?
How possible is that, Mr. Ari?
I have the details here. Justice Ibrahim Ajaite of the High Court in Banjul on Monday granted leave Nadine Ismail de Govera Pereira to travel to Portugal for Christmas.
Is he indicted? Or?
She's in court on a charge of drug trafficking. One, Sekou Conte has stood surety to the bond of $5 million, which if she doesn't come back, he will forfeit. So yes, everybody's presumed innocent until proven guilty. And this shows you the difference between the court of public opinion and the court of law. The court of law, the judge is saying that you haven't presented any evidence that she's a flight risk. But most people who've commented on the case online have said, hell no, I wouldn't allow somebody, because what they're claiming is that if somebody is caught with a serious amount of drugs worth billions, potentially they can afford to lose $5 million. It's chicken change. So everybody will be eyes on the court with whether she returns 20th of January to stand trial.
Well, it is it is very surprising to know courts can operate that way. You know, people that are accused of doing serious crimes, I mean, can be allowed to go on vacation for a period of time to return.
Well,
probably, don't you think they are eyeing the $5 million?
Billion.
To quote the judge, he said, I must state that the presumption of the stakes to be high is speculative. That's, you know, the presumption that she won't run. And the courts of law do not act on speculation. The trial is progressing, and the applicant has deposed to the fact that she's willing to defend the charges leveled against her. I do not think it is proper and lawful for the court to increase the bond at this stage, and it would be contrary to the criminal code, etc., etc. I am inclined to grant the application, which is the application that she should go on holiday. But if you flip this, if there's a Gambian citizen on trial in Portugal and they said, I want to come back to Gambia for Christmas holiday, do you think the Portuguese courts would allow it? I doubt
That's
it very
impossible.
much.
No way.
No
That
matter
is
what the bond is, I suspect not. But we shall see. January 20 is not that far away.
Yeah,
So
how
we'll
this
see whether
works out.
she returns.
She's
But
already gone to Portugal?
yes, they've returned her passport to her.
Mm.
And the leave she's applied for is from 20 December to 18th of January. And then she is due back in court on the 20th of January 2025.
Mm.
And all eyes will be on that court, I guarantee.
All eyes should be
And
on
if
that one.
she comes back, there'll be several people who have a heart attack, die of shock, because, as I said, she's facing serious charges.
Charges.
And
But
so
if she believes that
She's
innocent,
innocent, yeah.
I mean, there is nothing stopping her from coming back to prove that she is actually innocent. But
Absolutely.
if that is not the case,
And-
like you said,
yeah.
innocent until proven guilty.
Absolutely.
So let us just hope for the best. But
And-
this
yeah.
is unusual.
Yeah, it's unusual, but when you read the judgment, the judge is within his rights to say, we've set quite a high bail bond amount. It's been met. It will be forfeited if she doesn't come back. I'm willing to.
Which is
to
$5
accept
million.
$5 million.
Dollars.
Yeah.
It's not that high
It's
for,
not that- it's
for
not that.
someone
It's really
who is
not that.
alleged to have involved in drug trafficking.
And imagine
What
when
is
you are
5
fined one
million?
thing, you can be sentenced for many, many years.
You could face 15 or 20 years
Yes.
jail. So, it's quite serious. But yeah, as I said, I think when Nicholas brought the case to me, I said, I wasn't even aware of the case. I said, but even I will be watching that court
Absolutely.
on 20th of
It'll be
January to see whether she
interesting to
returns.
engage lawyers to know if a similar case had happened in the country here.
Well,
It'll
now
be
that it's happened
interesting.
once, it might happen again, because we've been aware that because of people tightening the sort of scrutiny around Guinea-Bissau, people have tried to use the Gambia as the kind of drug hub, because they feel that we're a bit lax, we don't have the security, we just don't have the personnel, and we don't have the capacity to cope with some of these cartels. Some of these cartels are richer than the state of Gambia, so they can bribe people. They're worth tens of billions of dollars, some of these cartels, and those are the ones you're trying to combat. So if they think, Gambia, it's a bit easy to get through here, they will try, and we're doing our best. We keep hearing about seizures of drugs, but
Which happens to be allegedly.
and then
investigations
then
are
you hear
ongoing.
a magistrate being indicted for how effective are we being? So yeah, I just thought
a
I'd bring that
problem.
interesting case.
Yeah, let's move on and
Yeah.
see
So what's in the newspapers?
how many diplomatic passports should a government, allow.
I don't know about allow, but
Here the minister Tangara is saying Barrow's government issued 3,030
2030.
diplomatic passports.
This came up in the
Last
National
next-
Assembly
Yeah.
when he was asked. Somebody had been, obviously they've been prompted to ask the question, and when he said the figure, people gasped, both in the chamber and outside who were watching it. 3,030 in such a short space of time, 7 years? Diplomatic passports?
A small country like
And,
the Gambia.
people then started saying, well, what is the criteria for issuing diplomatic passport? And I bet you, I'm not a betting man, but I'm willing to bet there are many people who are undeserving of that, really. And, they'll probably say to me, prove it. Well, I'll say to them, give us the list of people who, and then we can make that, we'll have that fight, as to people who've been issued with diplomatic passports. What's the criteria? That's a lot. It seems a lot on the evidence of it. And I think that's the next question the National Assembly member should ask. Can we see the list? And can we see the criteria
Who are issued?
on which you issue these?
Yeah.
Because it seems a lot. Seems a lot.
Well,
Yeah.
let's see.
So maybe
there was a time.
do you have one?
Not yet.
Not yet.
But I am.
I'm glad you said not yet,
Not yet.
rather than no.
Not yet. I cannot
mean,
remove
it's-
myself from that. I mean, line.
It
Probably
it could happen.
I might get one.
Because, if they're giving up to 3,030,
3,000.
there's a
And
very
this
good
is
chance
not-
any of us could
yeah.
get one,
And you remember there was that diplomatic passport scandal here,
course.
2021, 2022,
That's right.
involving the chief driver,
That's right.
State House,
And people
and
who,
protocol officer. I mean, if a chief driver and protocol officers
Can
can
get
have diplomatic
diplomatic
passports, I
then-
mean, I wonder.
then who
Maybe
cannot?
even the wives and
cleaners.
kids of ministers can have it as
No,
well.
no. That, I mean, you
I
find
think
that
there
wives
Yeah.
do have.
Yeah.
They've given because that came up at the time.
Time, yeah.
There
Their
were
wives,
spouses
yeah.
who were given diplomatic passports. So, like I said, it would be great to see the list. And now that we have access to information, I hope one journalist would put in a claim saying, "Can we see that list?" It's not secret. It's not a secret list. It shouldn't be a secret list, and it
Sure.
should be public information. So hopefully we'll see it.
All right. So, Drug Law Enforcement Agency makes bigger seizure
Yeah,
of
well, they-
ecstasy taps at the airport.
Ecstasy, wow. Okay. Ecstasy tablets. Well, there you are, you see. I mean, ecstasy tablets, if they're huge amounts, I suspect they're not meant for the Gambian market. This is probably meant to be a transit point. I don't get the sense. This is not a big market if you're going to sell ecstasy tablets. A lot of it is destined for Europe. And so they think this is an easy place. So every time they make these seizures, we congratulate them because we want to send the message that, yes, we might be small, we might be challenged in terms of capacity, but you're not going to use that as an excuse to use this place as a hub for transacting and illegal drugs.
So, currently,
Scary.
NECOF is on.
NECOM.
Yes, and the Minister of Sports was there last week. And of course, we've also seen the KMC Mayor, Talib Ahmad Bensouda. And QCell also sponsored $1 million, I mean, so that it can help run the activities of NECOF smoothly.
Well, that's right, because we had done a news report where they had admitted that there was a shortfall. And I think a combination of that report and the fact that I think the minister, as Mohamed Jas said when he was our CEO, when he was making the announcement, he said he reached out to him. And because he supports the aims and the ambitions of NECOM, he was willing for QCell to sponsor. So it's a QCell sponsorship, as you rightly say, $1 million, and that made up for the shortfall that they had. And so it can go, and they can breathe a sigh of relief that they're not having to worry about not having the funds to carry on what is a very important program, really.
Well, I mean, for me, I support the idea of NECOF. But at the end of the time, it's not just playing, dancing, and interacting. But what is going to be the home take after the NECOF?
The take home.
Yes.
Well, if you, this is a man who doesn't watch our news, I'm sorry to say, on QTV here, because we've done quite a few stories about NECOM, and in all of them, they have said that what has fed into the program has been the fact that they've reached out to youth groups, and they've asked them to come with hard things that you want us to bring up at this, that we can take forward, that can then influence government policy. So it's not just a talking and a dancing shop. They don't want it to be that. We can talk and we can dance anytime.
Yeah.
You know, if you want this to be relevant and if you want people to come back next year, in 2 years' time rather, then, because it's every 2 years, then let it mean something, And when I heard that, I was like, okay, I hope you mean it.
Yeah.
Because I hope when you issue the communique, at the end of it, you will put tough things that you want to deliver on yourselves and on government. Because let's not just shift everything to government. It's like the other day we were talking about waste. And we're saying that people can say, oh, my council doesn't provide this. Then that same person, when they drink their Cafe Tuba, they throw the cup on the street. That's not the government, that's you. as an individual. So there are things that they have to put on themselves. They can't just say, we're coming up with these things and we're tasking government to deliver on them. No, there are things that you have to give yourself as tasks that you have to fulfill.
And this year's theme is actually big because they are focusing on the Focus Recovery National Development Plan.
That's right.
So actually it's a big ambition.
Recovery focused.
Recovery focused National Development
Plan.
So it's a big ambition that
let it fit into something that's meaningful.
Yeah. I have no doubt that they will get there.
So let's hope they do.
Sure.
Like Balde says, I think that's the danger. That, you know, the opportunity to sing, dance and play sports is very enticing, but let that not hijack everything else.
Sure.
You know.
Yeah. Exactly. So let's still proceed. I mean, I hope it goes that way. So there's another headline on the Standards newspaper that is saying, Brody says with ECOWAS pressure, Malabo cannot refuse to extradite Jammeh. You know, the pressure is growing.
No, you know, I had to laugh at that.
They are talking about it all
because, of course, Equatorial Guinea is not in ECOWAS, so they don't have to be bound by anything that ECOWAS says. I mean, that's just fantasy stuff, really. What pressure is ECOWAS going to exert on Malabo, you know, on Equatorial Guinea? None. You can't even exercise pressure on 3 countries to stay within ECOWAS, Mali, Niger and Burkina Faso. How are you going to influence or put pressure on Malabo? Malabo doesn't do, you know, Equatorial Guinea doesn't do much trade between there. It's an oil-rich country, doesn't depend on ECOWAS for anything. So, honestly, that's just fantasy stuff, really.
So if they are to extradite Jammeh today, I mean, what do you think should be done, I mean, for Equatorial Guinea to come into an agreement with, you know, ECOWAS so that it can be possible? Because sooner or later, it will happen.
Look, if you take the example of Charles Taylor, who is now in Wormwood Scrubs, which is a prison just on the edge of London, he was given a kind of amnesty by Nigeria. And the international community said, you don't have the authority to give an amnesty to somebody who's accused of crimes against humanity. And so the international court then put pressure on Nigeria to give him up for trial. And that's exactly what happened. And I remember this clearly because I was in Freetown the day he was arrested. And in fact, they were going to bring him to Freetown because it was in relation to the Sierra Leone you know, atrocities in Sierra Leone, and and people were panicking that, you know, Liberia is only next door. If they bring him to Sierra Leone, his supporters could cross the border, because literally you can just walk across the border from Liberia into Sierra Leone. In fact, that's how the rebel war started. You know, so he was taken to Nigeria, and Nigeria said, yeah, we'll give him asylum. But the international community, the people who pay the bills, they said, no, you can't give him immunity. He has to face justice. He was tried and sentenced, and now he's serving 50 years, I think it is, in prison. He's in the UK. He's living fairly comfortably, one has to be said. But I don't see that's a long answer, but the short answer is I don't see what kind of, we don't have the kind of clout that an international court has to bring. ECOWAS simply doesn't have it. And I'll tell you why ECOWAS doesn't have it. Even the ECOWAS court itself, not every member of ECOWAS has signed the protocol that they will be bound by the judgments of that court. That tells you they are not serious, you know? Because if you sign that protocol, it means even a case that goes to your Supreme Court can be overruled by the ECOWAS court. I think only 4 or 5 countries have signed that. Out of 15. Well, now that we're down to 12.
So the rest refuse to sign.
They haven't signed that, so I'm sorry.
What have they achieved if you've come to look?
You know, when people tell me I'm taking my case to the ECOWAS court, I'm like, you have money and you have time to waste.
Their time and energy.
Because you will get a judgment that will not be respected. Well, 3 years ago, the Alex Saab, the businessman, Central American businessman, was arrested in Cabo Verde. His lawyers went to ECOWAS court. ECOWAS court said, you cannot have this guy extradited to the United States. The very next day after the judgment, Cabo Verde sent him to USA. and that's where he was tried. So
I mean,
it's
ECOWAS
meaningless.
cannot even make sure that we have the African Continental Free Trade Area has been here forever. And
free
they
movement of
goods
people,
and, goods and services. I mean,
and
they've not
people,
been
goods
able
and
to-
services. We can't even administer
here,
that.
Senegal
So trust
here.
me, we're not going to,
We're not
we can't
going.
even do between us, Senegal and Guinea-Bissau. They're not going to get it with Equatorial Guinea. It's not going to happen.
Yeah,
It's
you
not
know, most
possible.
people are not
That's
serious
just
about them.
fantasy.
You know, especially when that Mali and Niger thing
And
happened,
Burkina, yeah.
Burkina, until they threatened to
And
take
now they've,
action.
and now they, yeah,
At some point they
Alliance.
refused. So
Well,
that
actually
was
they
that was the
left.
biggest, I mean, mistake they made. I mean, I think
we had the
tests,
debate
I mean,
here.
And they gave them 6 months.
Yeah. So now they've given them 6 months to
Yeah.
reconsider coming back to the fold. But what the three Alliance of Sahel states have said is that this is irreversible. We're not coming back. And not only that, we're making the offer to citizens of ECOWAS countries that they can visit any of our
Visa-free.
countries without a visa. So they're not coming back, you know, unless something drastic happens.
Exactly. So the Victim Center is also saying there should be justice before reconciliation.
Yes.
You know, all these things are happening, and we all understand most of these victims are victims of former President Yahya Jammeh and his
Or his tenure in office.
it happens during his tenure in office.
Pardon me.
So, I mean, all these pressures, all these, you know, organizations are sending pressure to international organizations for them to make sure justice is served,
Yeah.
you know, sooner or later. That's what I'm talking about.
Well,
Justice will be served.
You've got Michael Correa being tried in the United States. You've got Bailo being tried in Germany. So it's not as if it's not happening. You know, these are, you know, former junglers. So what they're aiming for is, of course, the special tribunal that they're trying to form here in the Gambia for that to happen. Because we've had the TRRC, which is where we heard all these horrific things. I mean, some of them were so terrible that we refused to believe they were true, even though even though they came out of the mouths of the perpetrators. I remember sitting on a flight, and I've said this many times, I was coming back to the Gambia, and I was next to a guy who was coming to take a job at the MRC. He's a Gambian, and he said to me quite casually, I don't believe any of this stuff there, and not only that, I don't believe Gambians can do such terrible things. And I said, human beings can do terrible things. I said, and I, out of professional duty, have had to watch every minute of the TRRC. I said, they've all been perpetrated by Gambians, and something we just have to accept. We like to see ourselves as relaxed, smiling, and so on, and we buy into this whole kind of smiling coast thing. But we're human beings. Human beings can be terrible. We can do terrible things to each other, and that's been shown throughout history. You know, so, you know, sad to say.
And, you know, the worst thing is still, after all the revelations on the TRRC, there are people who still believe, okay, some of these people are even paid to come and say this.
Oh no, I still hear that
Someone
on a
was
regular.
like, these people
They
are
come, they
hypnotized.
pay to come and incriminate themselves.
Who
You know,
does
like the
that?
guy who came and said I was involved in 70 killings. Why would you come and say that publicly? For there's no amount of money that will make me say that, you know, I'm a mass murderer. For what? For money? And then people look at me with disdain, you know. And so when they're talking about justice before, yes, but, you know, we also live in a country where people can be quite forgiving, even of people who...
syndrome.
Yeah, that's this maslahat thing. It's a big thing here. And I think also in Africa, because I remember about 15 years ago, I went to do a BBC documentary in Sierra Leone. And the English people who went with me as my crew, they thought that it's only because the BBC were there that people were saying, I forgive these guys. So when we switched off the tapes, I said to him, speak to this woman. And because the rebels had killed both of her children, teenagers. And he said to her, but you know, okay, the camera is rolling, the recording's not. Why have you forgiven these people? And she said, I'm a Christian. I believe in God, I believe in forgiveness. And she said, no amount of hatred or court case is going to bring my two children back. Yeah. And that kind of convinced him that they weren't just saying stuff for the camera. They meant it. They really meant it. That.
Well, sometimes,
why should I carry
Mr.
around
Ade,
hatred?
it's good to forgive. I mean, you know, bygones be bygones. I mean, but at some point, you need justice. You need to know what exactly happened. And that's what happened during the TRRC.
Yes.
So you need to know what the problem is
Yes.
before you fix the problem.
I used to, in the old days when we all started having emails newly, when emails were new, I used to have this signature, I had my signature, my name, and underneath I used to have this saying, said, forgive your enemies, but never forget their names. And, you know, we can forgive, but I think we should never forget. Because I think when you forget and you push things, then those things can...
No, at some point, one
recur.
can forgive, but forgetting, I mean, I think that's
It's
out of the line. You can't forget, but you can forgive and move on. You can heal at some point.
Because that woman I gave as an example, Aisatu, she would never forget. In fact, it's impossible for her to forget. Both her children killed, but she can forgive, and genuinely she can forgive.
Because of the connection.
Yeah.
So, Mr. Ade, thank you. Thank you very much for reviewing the
thrill.
papers with us.
I always enjoy pretending to be Mr. Mboj.
We've taken your time a lot. And
Mr. Mboj, where are you?
We'll take a short break now.
Yeah.
Then from the break, the program is going to continue.
Cool.
Thank you. We'll be right back after the break.
Q Money and Orange Money has just made money transfer easier. Now you can send money from Gambia to Senegal directly from your Q Money wallet. So what are you waiting for? Get your Q Money account now and start sending money to your friends and families through Orange Money in Senegal now. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Q-Money e Orange Money joni weɓini nuldugol mbuɗi mi yetoma joni hiɗa wawi nuldude mbuɗi iwra ko Gambia ɗo yaha Sénégal e Q-Money wallet ma on eyyi ko honno wonɗa e fadde mi yetoma udduto Q-Money account ma on joni fuɗɗoɗa nuldude mbuɗi e teriɓe ma rewa ɗon ka Orange Money nder Sénégal fi heɓugol hen ko laaɓi hiɗa wawi noddude Q-Money customer care e 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ɗum no yaadi e sartaji. Q-Money anin Orange Money ye bulodi nyola pour ka kodi kio sone yandi ka bonan Gambia banko kan kata Senegal banko kan anin Q-Money wallet e ka mune batu e muna fan Q-Money account wala sign pour ka dati ka kodoki e terimal anila dimbayal kana anin Orange Money Senegal ni lafta ku Senegal sotola je Q-Money customer care commandi 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe ñing sartolle bala Q-Money ak Orange Money ñoo lëkkaloo pour yombalal leen yónnee xaalis bàyyi ko Gambia dem ba Sénégal ak Q-Money wallet looy toog di xaar dawal léegi nga ubbi Q-Money account pour nga mun a door di yónnee xaalis sa xarit ak sa mbokk yi jaarale ko Orange Money Sénégal léegi pour am si lu leer mun nga call Q-Money customer care si 133 Q-Money suñu kalpe lii dafa ànd ak sarta yuñ tëral.
Mitoma. First time cross, really threatening, and it's dropped for Minte, rifled in!
Did you know you can buy cash power using Q-Money wallets absolutely free up to $30,000 C's? Use our app or dial 323# and select Q-Power. Choose Register Meter. Enter your meter number. Dial *323# and follow these simple steps. Number 1, select option 3 for Q Power. Number 2, choose option 1 to buy any amount of Q Power. Enjoy free QCell airtime every time you cash in to purchase Q Power. For any inquiries, call 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalbe.
Mitoma.
Welcome back. after that break. This is QTV This Morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. So let's head to the second segment of this program. And Julde, we proceed with the segment.
Sure. So we have Lena here, who is a photographer. And we also have Lena Nyan, who is a photographer, and Justin Goshalboa, who is the director of Alliance Française. Good morning, ladies, and welcome to QTV.
It's good to have you here. You all look beautiful.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you so much. So we're starting with Justin. Tell us the mission and the vision of Alliance Française in the Gambia.
Yeah, thank you. So yes, the Alliance Française is actually a community center. A French and local organization which aims to promote French culture and French language. And we also aim to promote Gambian cultures, Gambian arts, and also innovation by our incubator program. So yes, it's really about bringing people together, letting our space open for like any creativity mind in the Gambia. Yes.
Exactly. So let's talk about, French growth in the Gambia. You know, what role are you playing? Because when you talk about Alliance Française, the mental picture that people have, it's a French school where you go and learn how to write and speak French.
Yes, right. So yes, it's actually our main mission is to be a French school. So we give tuition, French classes for adults mainly, but not only. We have 5 sessions per year. So every 10 weeks, if you want to register for French classes, every person are welcome. And so it's like a 10 weeks training, 45 hours in total. So it's a good way to learn French with practicing with a teacher. And obviously, I think that learning French, as learning every language, in fact, is one more skill you can have. And especially in an area where we are also surrounded by francophone countries such as Senegal, it can be really helpful to learn French for study, for business purpose. So yes, it's our main goal. Yes.
Yeah. So, Miss Nyan, let's proceed with you. Please tell us what do you do? And what work do you do with Alliance Française as well?
Okay, so I'm a photographer, and I also do a little bit of branding and graphic design, but my main work is photography. Well, Alliance have been working on this women empowerment project. I'm sure Justine will explain a little bit more about that after. And they reached out to me to be part of that project and work alongside Alliance. So that's the most recent things we've done. But I think when Justine came, is it 2 years ago? She also contacted me, and I did an exhibition at Alliance. So I think after that we kind of kept the relationship going. And
photography, when you talk about it, it can mean a lot of things.
Sure.
People take photos for different reasons. There are photos that tell stories. When you look at the photo, you will definitely understand, okay, this is what this photo is trying to portray. So what type of photography do you do?
Well, first of all, I would like to say, I think all photography tells a story. I think that's the main aim of photography. But I do mostly portrait photography. I always loved working with people and just capturing people emotions and expressions and whatnot. So that's what I do mainly. Also, obviously, because I also do Fashion Week in Gambia, so I work with a lot of designers and models. So I also do quite a bit of fashion photography. But I do all sorts of photography, but it's almost always centered around people. Yeah.
How does Gambia's culture, heritage, and actually inspired your work, and how does that influence your work as a photographer?
Oh, that's a good question. I think it's inspired me in every way because I'm here. So, just capturing people in general, I think that's capturing part of the culture as well. But one of the projects that I've done over a few years is a series called One, and that's what I exhibited at Alliance as well. where I looked into the different cultures of the Gambia, and not just the Gambia, but surrounding areas as well. So I basically looked at the different ethnic groups, and I left it open to the public to come and do their portraits. So you come and wear your traditional outfits, and then you'll bring a close friend or family member that's of a different tribe or ethnic group, and then I did portraits of them together to kind of show the connection and the I think, what should I say, the connection and the bond that we have as a people, to show that we're all one. It's not I'm this or I'm that, but I think in Gambia we have such a tight-knit community, and everybody living together in harmony pretty much. So
yeah, so what key values, I mean, the key values that guides the operations of Alliance Française in the Gambia?
I would say the key value is education. It's among all our objectives, like to be an educational center, which is mainly open again to students, to schools as well. Like for example, yesterday we had over 150 kids coming at the Alliance for a theater show done by a French company and the company Jerama from Senegal. So it's really like a community center. I know that sometimes Alliance can look like a big institution, which can be a bit like, can afraid some people because it looks like it's big institution. But in fact, we are here since 1946. And since then, we always worked with communities, with schools, with artists. And it's also why, really quickly after I arrived, I reached out to Lena because I was searching actually to work with Gambian artists. And when I discovered Lena's work, I was really amazed about her work, the quality, and the story she was telling. And also, obviously, because she is also a female photographer, I was even more interested because as a woman, I'm also obviously trying to support women's. That's why we are right now running a program which is the Women Empowerment Project, which is going for over a year, and which aims to promote women's empowerment through the arts, culture, and innovation. And so it's how we started to work again with Lena. Since now 4 months, we are working on a portraits project. So Lena actually captured some inspiring Gambian women who are coming from different fields, like a football coach, like a climate activist, an advocate, different women who are working and working actively for their community and making a big impact by their actions. Sure. And so now Lena's pictures are displayed in the street on 3x4, you can see some, for example, by the American Embassy. And so it's women of strength and empowerment, because the idea is to show also the women who are making a difference in this society. And sometimes as a woman you will feel like maybe you are not really welcome in every professional environment, or that maybe some works are not made for you. But actually, as a woman, you can do the same as a man. Sure. So that's also a way of communicating and to highlight these inspiring women.
So in terms of the specific initiatives that Alliance Française has rolled out to support young people, do you have also any plans of supporting young people in terms of scholarships, language programs, and all of that?
Yes. So actually we are working closely with the French Embassy, which is based in Dakar. And I have 2 colleagues, one who is working for Campus France, and so she's promoting studies in France for Gambian students. So our office is based at the Alliance, and every students, Gambian students who would like to go for studying in France, they are welcome to come at the Alliance on like offices hours to meet with Oriane and to get more information and how, because she's actually helping the students to build their file, to build their profile, and then to send their application to the universities in France. And also, I have another colleague who is working for the French embassy, who is also based at the Alliance, and she's actually like giving like so it's for a program which is called Assistant de langue. So it's for being a language assistant in France. So like in English classes. So that's kind of yeah, we have these two kind of programs. And after also we support also educational program in the Gambia. Because the idea is also to make the difference in the Gambia. And for example, by this Women's Empowerment Project, we are working with a lot of local CSOs, such as Amnesty International, WAVE, WIL, Girls Pride, and they are all actually like conducting a small program and component of the Women's Empowerment Project directly in the school. So for example, Will is actually leading an ambassador club, and these ambassadors from the schools, they are going on big institutions to meet inspiring women and to have like some exchange with them, to understand their challenges, to understand how they succeed in their life path. And then after the students are going back to their school, and then they are exchanging among with each other and presenting also these different inspiring women. And as part of this Women Empowerment Project, which is actually funded by the French embassy, there is also Girls Pride, who is conducting this funny board game, which is around menstruation and sexual health. And so same, they are going in different classes, conducting trainings. So it's all this kind of help and like support we can do with like local CSOs and schools as well. Yeah.
So Lena, if you were to describe the Gambia's artistic scene, how would you describe it, and how is it? What is its role in promoting Gambian culture and promoting diversity?
Well, first of all, I would like to say I think it's grown tremendously over the past few years. When I came here, I've been here for about 15 years now, and when I came, it looked totally different. I mean, I guess there's always been a creative industry in a way, but I think it's been more in terms of music and dance and more like cultural elements. And I think now it's more widespread because now you have, you have a lot of like spoken word artists, you have more, I guess you have more singers as well, and people who do music, you have lots of photographers, fashion designers. So I think it's grown a lot, and I think it's really important for the country. I think it's important, I mean, I heard a little bit about your conversation earlier, but I think it's important to use it as a way of expressing yourself and releasing trauma. I think it's really helpful to use the creative expressions to help yourself, basically. And I think that can also take us far as a nation to really appreciate the creative industry in that sense. But I think also in terms of tourism and reaching out to the rest of the world, I think obviously it's one of the best ways, because that's what attracts people. They'll come, they want to hear the music, they want to see the fashion, they want to see the arts.
Absolutely.
So I think that could really, is something we really need to build on. And I think we really need to support youths in general and encourage them to be more creative and understand that it can be a business and it is a whole industry that the country needs to build, basically.
Yeah. So in terms of the challenges confronting the Gambia's creative industry, what are some of these challenges?
I think the main challenge is that we don't have a proper infrastructure for anything, really. And because we are such a small country, we don't have the capacity in a lot of ways. I mean, a lot of people are using social media. Obviously, it's a new way to reach out to the world and market yourself. But when you have such a small population and such limited access to internet and whatnot, it's a challenge. And then I think also in terms of, let's say if we look at the fashion industry, you know, we have amazing designers, but there's no proper production. We've had, with Fashion Week, we've had buyers that were interested in some of the designers. When they want to place an order for 1,000 items, 10,000 items, it's like, it's a challenge. And we don't have the standard, just the standard equipment and the basic infrastructure to create like big productions for most things. So I think it starts really at a ground level, where we just need to look at how can we build this infrastructure and how can we, you know, build the creative industry.
So have we been doing that conversation? How can we start somewhere? Because someone needs to lead the way, I mean, to talk about it so that it can start from somewhere. So are we really doing that?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't speak for all the different industries because obviously it's a lot. I think the music industry has come the furthest because they have been there the longest, I guess. I mean, I don't know, but that's what I see. And I mean, they have the music union and things like that. I don't even really know. You know, these are conversations between, like, in the, like, from person to person. Like, the fashion designers might come together, the artists come together, the photographers come together. But I think it needs to be on a bigger scale because it's difficult when the individuals have to kind of try and pull through. Yeah, I think it's more like a, you know, maybe on a government level that it needs to be looked at. How do we build these industries? Yeah, I think.
So in terms of collaboration too, I think that's also very, very important. So since you came in, to the Gambia, have you been doing any collaboration with other photographers in the Gambia here and the impact that has had in the Gambia's creative industry?
You know, collaboration is something that we really seem afraid of.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I feel that everybody wants to do their own, and I think we still kind of have this mentality that, you know, crabs in a barrel. Like, I gotta get to the, I'm gonna get everything for myself, and you know, there's not enough for everybody. And I think we really need to change that mindset. And I think it's starting to change slowly, but I definitely think we need to do way more, because when you work together, you can reach so much further. I mean, for me, I try to link up with photographers and people in the, not just photographers, but people in the creative industry in general, and try to keep a network of people so that if I have a job and they, for example, need a videographer, then I have my people that be like, listen, I'm going on this job, do you want to come along? Or if I'm doing something, I'm like, you know, it'd be better if there's two of us doing it, I'll call somebody else. Or I've also been working like with bigger like video productions and stuff, and I see a lot of change in that. In we had the film festival recently, which was amazing. Like people coming together and creating bigger productions, not trying to do everything themselves, but understanding that when you create something, there's different, you know, you need different people with different skill sets to support you and come together.
And just to remind our viewers, Alliance Francaise is also a partner on QTV, sponsoring one of the segments on the Jigen show. That's the Jigen Jambar. So talking about women empowerment, you know, I understand there are a lot of organizations that are here to empower women. And, you know, what gap have you seen as an organization to fill in?
I think, as Lena mentioned earlier, sometimes it's quite interesting to see that people will work on their side and won't always like collaborate. And I think for us, the main goal is also by this project is also to bring artists, CSOs, Gambian CSOs to work together on a common path. So I think it will be this gap we are trying to fill, because we have the premises, we have an amazing venue which can help like to do so many type of events, conference room, like the theater, an incubator. So altogether, it's a big tool we have for the community to use for bringing the voices, for bringing like inspiring creation and innovation. So I think for me it's really like we are trying to get everyone together as much as possible. And also Lena mentioned it before. I think the Chorus Film Foundation is a re-inspiring organization because they are quite young. Now it's like 3-4 years they were founded. And with them we launched the Short Film Festival, the Chorus Film Festival, which is happening every year. So we had the second edition this year. And it was quite amazing to see how people were re-interested, show up to come to see the movies, because we succeed this year to co-produce 4 Gambian short films. And I think at some point the arts are helping also to tell another story about what is feasible in the country, where we can like all aim together. Because again, as Lena mentioned, like to have a project is teamwork. You won't go really far if you are by yourself. And cinema is a good example, because obviously you need the writer, you need the producer, the director, the videographer, all the staff to feed also the actors. And so it's kind of like a big family and a big organization. And so at some point you have to be together to also like try to reach some standards and to work together to create like a art piece. And I was really touched about some public from the public who mentioned the quality of the Gambian film, and especially also mentioning, look, it's the first time of my life I'm seeing a Gambian movie. And I think it's really good, because again, it's telling another story, because sometimes we are all aware that there is so many challenges in this country, and sometimes young people can not really see their path in this life. So through the art and culture, through giving a space of education, we also want to play our role as a community member. Yes.
All right, so finally, let's talk about the long-term plans of Alliance Française in the Gambia.
So I think long-term plans is really to develop our links with the schools, especially because I really believe on youth. And you know, if you are like giving some space of expression, of discovery for youngsters, then it's also helping to build a mindset, to broaden your horizons as well, you know. So for me it's really focusing on education, like obviously getting even more like to increase the quality of our services as a French class, and also to support the schools community and the artists obviously. I have big dreams also for the Chorus Film Festival. I think what we did in 2 years is quite amazing, really impressive, and I hope that you know, as a French person, my contract will end at some point. But I wish I will come back in 10 years, like for the 10 years festival. And I really believe in it, because I think something is changing, and I felt like all the community vibes, which I loved really.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you very much, ladies, for coming on the program. And,
so
you know, that was an insight. We appreciate it. And we hope to build, you know, more relationships with Alliance Française.
Yes.
And, you know, we believe we'll engage you more on this platform again.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity and the partnership, yes.
Thank you. Well, viewers, we'll take a short break. After the break, the program continues. We'll be right back.
Gambia, are you ready to party?
Get ready for the biggest celebration of the year.
It's Q Carnival at Q City. This December 31st, we're taking it to the next level.
From 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., Q City kicks things off with a vibrant cultural and family fun festival, perfect for all ages.
Shop till you drop at the marketplace. Open from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Vendors, grab your stall for just $2,000.
Indulge in a classic gala dinner from 7 p.m. to midnight. Come hungry, leave happy. Then when the clock strikes 12, the stage explodes with a live music concert from midnight to 5 a.m. The hottest artists and DJs will keep you dancing till dawn.
Don't miss out. Mark your calendars and join Q Carnival, the ultimate New Year's Eve celebration at Q City.
This December 31st, Q Carnival is taking over Q City for the biggest celebration of the year. From 5 p.m. to 11:30 p.m., the evening kicks off with a vibrant cultural and family fun festival hosted by famous comedy. A perfect mix of colorful cultural displays, live entertainment, and exciting games for the whole family. But that's not all. The Q Carnival Marketplace is open from 5 p.m. to 5 a.m. Shop unique crafts, handmade treasures, and indulge in mouth-watering foods from incredible vendors. Then as the clock strikes 12 midnight, the sky lights up with spectacular fireworks display. Now say goodbye to 2024 and welcome 2025 with a bang.
It's all about the Q Carnival music concert, live in a place we call Q City Complex. On the 31st of December, all road leads to Q City, featuring Jizzle, Miss Jobis, Hussein Dada, Antua Sparky, Nyancho, Big Banga, and many more. Tickets are 200, so massive. Make sure uno lineup live in a place we call Q City, 31st of December. Everything good. Come and enjoy the ambience. Whether it's culture, shopping, food, or music, Q Carnival is where all is happening. Q City is the place to be, the 31st of December. Q Carnival, you don't know, can't miss this carnival.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Abalde. Now let's head to the last segment of this program. We'll be talking about the Q Carnival. It's approaching the affaire si mu ngi naaw ni bal. Mariama, what do you have for us?
You know,
why, Mariama? You look tired.
I am.
Look at your face.
Running a program
of
this magnitude is hefty. But we move.
Wow, we move.
So that's what I was saying. We have the same problem.
I'm telling you.
You have the same problem.
Yeah, so what's going on?
Yeah. It's a pleasure to be here once again. Talk about the Q Carnival and the gala. Link over here. Time is running out so fast. But we wanted to come back and give you guys updates on where we are at the moment. Of course, we've given you updates about the cultural fest, how there'll be different cultures represented from Mandinka, Jola, Akosere, Pol, Sarahule, everybody will be represented. We'll have the marketplace, the bazaar, where we will be inviting vendors, food vendors, clothing, all kinds of things. As far as you have a business and you want to be able to, you know, benefit from the busiest day of the year, you're welcome to come and join us and then sign up for 2,000. But then if you are, you know, like late night bird, and then you like concerts and stuff like that, we have that also catered for live music with Gambia's finest artists. So all of that is lined up. But we wanted to come back and give you updates on the ticketing because obviously you're going to need tickets to go in.
Absolutely.
We have made sure, you know, with QCell's help to be able to cut the prices to as low as $200. And for that, we wanted to let you guys guys know that QCell has allowed us to also sell from their outlets, the customer care outlets. So wherever you find a QCell customer care outlet, you can go over there and pick up a ticket for the carnival. Also for the gala, to let people know, you must rush now because the gala tickets are going fast. And affaire Morwali la.
Wow.
Morwali mom ambiance la.
Affaire bu graw.
Affaire bu graw.
La momuna accommodate.
The gala can take up to 800 people.
Wow.
So the space is humongous,
yeah,
but
there's no excuse.
There's no excuse. But I have you can do the TV promos and all of that. Famous was on radio yesterday with Andy Spike talking to the people. We're also planning to do giveaways with the influencers we have in-house, and Mayigal general public, like, you know, let them keep an eye out for that, because we're also going to be on the road to do a road show.
Are we part of that?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, influencers. Mariama, influencers.
Your influencer of new oppa. Influence. You know, so let's talk about you know, Dugabi.
Yeah.
Nini gomuñ 200 ngay fay ci bunta bi.
Wow. Moo tax ma ne affaire yi suñu boss la daal. QCell more power affaire si ba ñu mun koo peg at that point. Because dëgga ku xool programme bi detail ci fa nekk nu mu bare expenditure. Di nga xam ne it's a very expensive program to put together. But fortunately, QCell had, you know, agreed to come on board and support the program. You def ko 200 M kese. Xale yi ñëw nga fay 200, mag yi ñëw nga fay 200. We just pegged it at that flat rate. Anybody that comes in. And hopefully, you know, it will be affordable for everyone and everybody can come have a good time.
Comme ñu musuta seetaan or xamuñ anything about the Q Carnival, kañ la moo door, ban time, at kañ la moo close, a recap of some of the activities, right?
Yes. So 5 o'clock. La moo commencé. And the
Gambian
reason
time la na du Gambian time.
No, du Gambian time de. Ñun 5 daal nongor yi da commencé pour ngeen xamee ko noonu. So at 5 o'clock we would start the cultural fest, and then that's the segment that Famous Comedy would be hosting. He's going to be performing as well. So we'll have the different cultural performers do their thing, and then the bazaar would be open at that time as well. So fekkee da nga bëgg a ñëw shop ak you know you sell and all of that, or you have xale, you know, you have a kid and you're not able to stay out too late. Those are the people we opened it early for. Also, it's New Year's Eve. Everybody is outside pretty much. Traffic is tight, but we wanted to make sure that if you wanted to be outside before traffic, you can actually leave home Singonsi and not get stuck in the 9 o'clock traffic like you usually do during New Year's Eve, because a lot of people miss the fireworks because of that. So from 5 o'clock Sinkomase with the cultural festival, we go ahead, the bazaar would be on, the comics, the mascots, the pool would be open for the kids. We'll have face painting, different things happening. By 11:30 p.m. we would be winding down the cultural festival to do the fireworks. So Senegambia or anywhere else that does fireworks it's not going to have anything on us, because we have our fireworks, which is going to be loud and proud. And then right after that, we have the lineup of artists that are coming. And then something exciting also came up, which is we wanted to do just 6 artists. But then we have a lot of other artists who have been calling like, hey, we want to be on this platform, put us on this platform. And then there are some upcoming artists that are so good, we can't miss out the opportunity. So we've accepted some people who are going to be on the lineup, and then I will be giving out this information pretty soon. Yeah.
Wow, exactly.
That is a night to
Q City is the place to be, huh?
Sure, that's a night to remember.
The activities comme yan artist la artist yi xam naa ne Ousseyn Dada dafa nekk.
Yes.
Gis naa fa, you know,
Big Banga,
wow.
Miss Jobis,
you know, Miss Jobis.
and to the Sparky.
Wow, dafa gën a garaaw de, ah.
Jizzle
tam dafa nekk, you know. So Q City ñu ngi over pare, you know, so let everybody prepare ñu dem ñu tasee foofu noonu. Cultural dance bi moom dafa nekk, because affaire pole bi moom man maa ko amee.
Wow.
Man, I am planning to bring something.
Nga ne?
Mariama.
Wow,
maa ngi liggéey dara. Dama la ko bëgg a jox. Su ma la ko joxee. Culture bi dafa nekk foofu. Pole yëpp foofu la ñoo.
Bu leen ko nangoo mbootee daal.
Waaw, so dafa gën a garaaw. So ak yan activities tam la ñoo expect?
maa ngi am ku ma doon waxal ma ne ko dañoo ase mama para mu ne ma mama para.
waaw
mama para laa gëj a gis.
bu gudda bi
bu gudda bi ba si kaw and you know it's funny back then. da nga ko daan gis fu nekk.
waaw
but léegi unless you attend some of these cultural festivals doo ko mën a gis ak kumpo. so ñun dañu foogoon daal it's very important pour ñu isi those pieces yi nga xam ne maybe the younger ones. amuñ chance pour interact with it because dañ ko dee gis si screen si rek. so some of those little things is what we brought in. The Sarahula culture, we have a big following at Q City for the Sarahula culture.
Absolutely.
Our cultural festival would not be a cultural festival if we do not include the Sarahula culture.
True.
You know, as a hunting, for Akuita with Gisi Sen Boba. Because if you think about it, it's the New Year's time, it's the Christmas time, it's time for them. So it's important to add them in there. Then Buganindal, every culture, Mugisi Bopa. Kankurang Bidafanyo pour represent Mandinkabi, Akjolabi, Kumpo Bidafa represent Jolabi, Zimbabwe Munge represent Wolof. So there's representation for all of these cultures.
True.
Yes.
Exactly.
We have famous comedy to do the comic segment of it.
Famous,
he'll be both, you know, hosting and entertaining people at the same time. Then you know, in-house, I'm own mascots. We have people wear them and entertain the kids. Kids love stuff like that. So it's about creating memories. You take photos, you take videos. Every time you look back at it, you're like, the Q Carnival was really fun, a fun way to bring in the new year. And we're hoping that it can be a yearly thing, inshallah.
Absolutely. I have no doubt. For the fact, Neman, I really want to go to Smahaleta Medan Faram because the issue with Senegambia is the far open, security-wise, and all of that.
No, roundabout buñ fa def sax dafa nahari pour dafa tight.
Exactly, but with the Q City, mungi am fence, it's enclosed, and security be, I'm sure is top-notch.
Security be is top-notch. Enclosure be already gives us one up.
Exactly.
Dinga muna ñew ak sa njaboot yëpp ñëpp tasaaroo si biir foofu noonu. But at the end of the day, you know everybody's within an enclosure, and the enclosure is secured because we're investing in private security, event security, and then we're also getting support from the Gambia Police Force. So you know we've already written to secure our fireworks permit. So bring your kid, the whole family.
Better 200.
You know,
we need to talk about that.
Galabidal, Morwali Monyo entertain. We're going to have scrumptious meals that are going to be prepared. Of course, if you Q City, if you Q group, so we have that all planned out. The food is going to be delicious. It's going to be a vast variety of foods. We're going to have the QTV would be there as well, you know, to do their interviews and do coverage.
I'll be hosting the event throughout the night. So kinga hamne rek yow manam fan nga manela ne debo majakar lok yow def demba.
Wow. So, you know, the food will be there. Morwale will be there to perform. We're working on a few artists that can do the opening, maybe something acoustic, you know, something with a gala vibe. We're going to get all of those in the gala. But Morwale is going to be there, and he has been telling all of his fans to come and be a part of that ambience. Because there's an elegance aspect to it, but there's also a huge ambience aspect to it. Sansel bam nice. You know, nyo leka basur. Feature bune, enjoy entertainment bu touch. So I don't think you can lose from that point. Yeah.
Wow. Last time amon na kuma call from Spain. Mune mane dama buga indi family bi. Mune mane why man gisuma number yi. Lan moy number yi pour ma call?
Number yi. Du problem.
Mun nga jël sa smartphone bi nga ne 33 Q City. Wow, 33 Q City. When you type that, you will definitely get to the number for Q City.
So the number is the front desk number. In case some of you out there who don't know it, is 337 2489.
Wow.
337
2489. Wow. But with Soko Kole, you will be able to get to Q City direct.
Yes.
You know, you have Bemba. Small boy, you get watches. You never know boy Q Carnival be you nipla. Managana as far as you can buy ticket. You can buy ticket mom yang sibir.
Wow. Maria magay dañ len ko may rek 200 nag. 200 mom lolu may la rek.
Te xam nga bu nekké né lolu la sa security bi is very significant.
It's important.
Wow, security bi mo gëna important.
Man I'm always worried. Senegambia xalé yi dem anything can happen.
Open concept bi te légui dëkk bi ken xamut. You know, things are crazy. You get assault ñi fi all kinds of crimes. Exactly.
Yeah, so I think that's all we have. Mariama, thank you. Thank you for coming.
Yes.
Xam naa ne bii mooy nekk the last interview for the Q Carnival.
Yes.
Xam naa ne su soobee yàlla after the Carnival dinañ dellusiwaat fii ñu waxtaan ñu woon nit ñi lu fa xew.
Okay.
Affaire si ku ko rate. You will definitely regret it, honestly. You know. ñun jaru sa ñuy sona léegi duñ dee xalaat ay xalaat yu bëri because xam nañ ne Q City got us covered already.
Absolutely.
You know, so jarut ñuy worry.
Just to remind the guys, you know, if you want your tickets, it's at all the outlets, the Q Cell outlets. You can go to all the customer care points to get your tickets from there starting Monday by God's grace.
Okay.
And like we said, you can call 333-000-55 as well if you would like to just inquire about tickets
or
inquire about the program.
337-2489.
337-2489
pour nga bokk ci affaire si nga mën a xam nooy jëndee ticket. You know, Mariama, thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Julde. It's always a pleasure.
Julde Njai, we're closing the week now.
Yes. Until we come your way next week.
On Monday.
Yes.
Inshallah.
For another interesting, fascinating program of this morning.
So thanks to our director, Aliou Jallo, and all the camera crew. Big up to my friend, Mamad Faye. Big up yourself, Bouf Balde. Happy belated birthday. Mune birthday mbi nang ndeysaan kenn joxut ko dara. This guy. Loolu la mune kenn joxut ko dara. Bouf. Yes, and thanks to everybody, all our guests. We're saying until we come you again on Monday, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.